Jess asks, how would you advise us to discern between all the contrasting data and opinions surrounding all of the COVID vaccine?
Ooh. Do you know, I don't even know myself.
Yeah.
It's just, there's so much stuff out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's really, really challenging. Look, there's a difficulty with, I'll tell you what the problem is with, say, a conspiracy theory for starters. The trouble, and people get angry when I say conspiracy theory, but a conspiracy theory is a thing where people say there's a lot of people involved in a mass cover-up. The problem there is, it's interesting, I've had conversations with two people who are very high-level intelligence analysts, or one was even an intelligence agent, and they've worked for intelligence departments in overseas and in Australia. And they make a really good point. They said that in intelligence, the principle on which the whole, I hope there's no spies in the room, that's an interesting thought, isn't it? The principle on which the whole thing operates is minimum people knowing the information. You can only guarantee a secret really if one person knows. And they said there are some assets out in the field where only one person knows they exist. And that is how the whole system operates. It is to reduce the number of people in the know. It's the only way to keep a secret. You can think of Watergate. Why were the secrets around Watergate never kept? Well, Chuck Colson said, because 12 men knew, right? And the 12 most powerful men in the world could not keep the secrets around Watergate. They couldn't do it. Now that is, the intelligence services know that, and there's never 12 people that know anything in the intelligence services. I was really interested in conversations with these people. That's a good principle to work on, to figure out, these grandiose schemes. You've got to be very careful about that. All I can say about, when you start delving into some of the details on this, let me just give you my take, and maybe that'll help. My basic take on the situation is the vaccine is, I believe, a genuine example of a conscience issue. What do I mean by that? I mean that you can't say that it is a sin to take the vaccine. But also, I don't know that you can say it is holy to take the vaccine. I suspect it depends on your motives. The reason it's difficult is because there are, I believe, good reasons to take a vaccine. For example, it does have some effect on the transmissibility and the deadliness of the virus, mostly on the deadliness of the virus, okay? So there's some impact there. You might say, well, that's a reason enough for me to take it. Well, all the best. And that is fine. However, someone might say, but there are fetal cell lines used in the research and development process around this vaccine. And I, in good conscience, cannot go there. That is a very good reason not to go there, okay? And I'm not going to deny that. That is an actual basis for a conscientious objection on a pro-life ground. Those are just two examples. Here's another one. The reason I believe that one of the reasons state governments have not mandated vaccination is because there is quite a significant minority of people who are opposed to that very seriously, for very good reasons. When really bad stuff happened in the past, and everyone sat in the ashes afterwards, the smouldering ruins of a society with millions of dead people, and said, what on earth just happened? How did that even go wrong? We didn't see it coming. They wrote stuff down for us. And one of them was never coerce a medical treatment. Now, that's a very good principle. And it's not true that human nature has so changed that suddenly we can ignore the rules. Sorry, evil is evil, bad people are bad people, and most of the tyrannical systems around are the same as they've ever been. They just use different labels and names and, So I say it's great to have that principle. And if there is a group of people, a minority in the society, who are actually holding out the government from making it mandatory, I say, well, good for them. And I think they're loving their neighbour too. So I think I'm on the right track. This is good. So the point is, this is a genuine issue of conscience. And the reason and Romans 14 is the place to go to look at how to deal with issues of conscience. where it's not abundantly clear either side, and you can make an argument either way. The most important thing is that Paul puts out in Romans 14, where he talks about things that aren't issues of sin and holiness, or where it's unclear. He says, listen, each of you stands before God with his conscience, and each of you gives an account to God for his conscience. But here's the important thing: it should not divide us against each other as Christians. That is so, so crucial. It's not one of those issues. And I saw a story about a church in America that is actually saying you can't come to church unless you're vaccinated. Are you serious? I mean, anyone can come to church to worship God and hear the gospel. It doesn't matter who the heck they are. You know, Jesus isn't so woke that he requires a vaccine. So it's not right to make those distinctions and those divisions. And I would say it's really important. It's a shame almost that it's so controversial, because I see the good reasons. I really do, on both sides. Look, I'll tell you this. Here's another good reason. The absence of long-term trials is a good reason. That's just a reality. I mean, it's just a fact. And people have got to make up their own mind on that. And that's why people say, are you vaccinated? Actually, I've only just become eligible in the last 2 weeks because I'm from Canberra. So that's my first excuse. And I haven't been back there. But the other side of it is, I always say I'm happy to go last because I'm just really interested to see how it all plays out. I don't say any of that to stop anyone getting a vaccine. It's up to you. And I'm not going to say, thus saith the Lord. I'm just not going to do it. So there we go. We got through that.